All right, so taking about a couple months off streaming and been reading some audiobooks. Kind of bored of Path of Exile. Didn't want to play D4. Been audiobooking and grailing, and about maybe 5 weeks into grailing and reading audiobooks. One finally dropped. Maybe after 3 more Templars that dropped, I finally got materials. Just happened randomly while watching streams, reading audiobooks, and eventually this thing dropped. So Grail done. Found 2 Nightwings and an Ethereal Mang songs before I finished before I got Ethereals, but we did it, and it's about 4 years since I started, with about I don't know, 3.5 years off in between, I guess. Maybe like, yeah, something like that. 3.5 years of playing PoE and doing other stuff in D2 before finishing this thing. But it's fun to do while doing other things. It's pretty hard for me to do it while streaming, but you treat it like knitting. It was pretty easy for me. Like knit something and keep my attention on something else while I wait for this stupid fucking armor to drop. Now that it's dropped, I'm going to document the final MF builds configuration for the account that I had. And then I'm going to make the best PVM builds for each class that I have available to me at the moment. I don't know if I'm going to do any more stuff in D2 Plugy, but I'm at least going to configure this to be how I want. So I'm going to document the MF builds right here in this video. And yeah, going to reconfigure everything to be the best builds that I know in this game before D2R as well. No changes. This is just vanilla 1.10 Plugy soft core solo self-found. So here's the builds. I'm not going to say everything because it'd be a lot of words and I don't remember everything perfectly from when I was doing this last, but I just want to document it. You can see what I'm working with. This guy probably did something like, I don't know, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pit runs. And the merc is that tree. One in double swing for when I was doing ancient tunnel runs occasionally. Boom. Stats. And that's it, man. It's actually done, and it's hard to believe for me personally. It was like a ending of a chapter of my life. It's pretty crazy. That's the Barb. He did probably 90% of the grailing, I want to say. The next most was definitely the Sork, I would say. Let's see what she ended up with. Ists everywhere. 3-piece towels. Nice MF ring. Nice MF ring. Chansey's only got 150 war travs the whole way. And these are all another. I had 2.5 inventories full of 7% MFSCs before I found materials, man. Accidentally deleted 2 torches, selling them to vendors. But it's alright, I had plenty of backups. Swap. CTA Spirit. And stats the usual. Rank the wear gear, max Vite. And these are the it's a hybrid Blizzballer for Ancient Tunnels on Players 3. I found the difference between Players 3 and Players 1 to be pretty minimal once your gear is good enough that you just do Players 3 and you might get a Sacred Armor off a minion. You never know. That's the Sork. And then who else did the next most magic finding? The Necro for sure. This guy was a beast. He found a Chamrune, an Ethereal Mang song, and a Mang song yesterday. And then materials today. In the morning too, so I get to make all my PVM gear and have a nice day of actually not looking for materials while playing this game. Pretty nice. Yeah, and then Isideth's Death's Web. I found another Death's Web as well before I found materials. I found almost everything twice. The only item I didn't find twice before Tyrael's was Raven Lore. It's the only item I haven't gotten two of. Yeah, with the Sicko amulet. And then, boom. Another CTA. Merc is another Infinity, F40, E-Bug, and F Andy, Rald, Insight, Iron Golem. The usual suspects. And then Tree is one of the curses that matter. And then Poison Nova, Max CE, one in Bone Armor, one in all the summons, mostly for revives in the Iron Golem, and then yeah, that's it. I think. Yeah, I dumped the rest in amp damage for the maxed AoE. And then I love this character the most, probably, out of all of them. He has 470 MF killing stuff. And just got tons of runes. Players 3, and just got tons of runes, tons of uniques. It's like by far my favorite build in the game, I think. For Magic finding, I should say. And now, probably Javazon did the next most, to be honest. Screw Paladins. Hammer didn't suck. Let's see it. Enigma, Istid Griffs. Oh, this is pretty jank. I never found a 220 MF glove for Javazon, sadly. But we got the usual suspects. This is for the FCR breakpoints, using this jank gear. I never got a 210 Amazon amulet with MF. But that's for the FCR breakpoint, Spirit, and then on swap we got Phoenix and a CTA. And then these are all 6%ers, but I have some 7s. I just found that I'm not even throwing in there. The usual suspects. Another Infinity, Fortitude, regular Andes. Usual suspects here for Strength to Wear gear and max fight. And then Tree is 1 Pierce, and then all the Lightning Fury and Charged Strike passives, or synergies, I should say. This is not PoE. Let's see. And that's a Might Merc. Don't use Holy Freeze on anybody, I don't think. And then the Pally, which I did minimal runs on, but yeah, what did I end up doing? For quality of life, I just went 2 SOJs, Mage Fist, Hodo, the usual suspects. A 210 that took me forever to make. Like, pretty sure some of the RNG in single player Plugy is a little bit glitched in terms of what rolls too close together. Like, I would often roll very similar items together when crafting amulets, which was pretty strange. Then I would find clusters of uniques that didn't really make sense. Like, I found 2 Mank songs in like a few runs. Yesterday, after not finding Conqueror Crown unique, Halberd's Reign, I found like 4 in the last 2 days, you know, stuff like that. It could just be RNG, but I do think that there's some iteration that doesn't happen in single player when you're using the same map seeds that does affect the outcome, if I had to guess. But yeah, probably verifiable in some statistical analysis, but I'm too lazy to go make code to go do that. But yeah, that should be a burr in the Reaper Stole, but I'm too lazy to farm up another one. Okay, so that's everything, and then that's all the MF gear. I had a Fury Druid that's pretty decked out with a Ethereal, but he's not MFing. Oh, I had an Assassin as well, but I didn't really use her that much. I leveled her to 94 and then just couldn't be bothered to play her that much. She's like really good at bill running. It's the same Infinity Merc with E-Bug Fort and Rald Andes, but then I'd found this 220 Circlet, which allowed me to get a bunch of MF charms and extra stuff on with a really nice amulet as well. So you put on Enigma, Ravenfrost for CBF, and then these Tri-Reses, and then you use Infinity on the Merc, and then ideally this would be Chammed instead of Ravenfrost, and then you just stack as much MF as possible. And the only thing I didn't get a bunch of that I still would like to get at, honestly, is I only found 3 Trap GCs. I have probably 10 of every other skiller. at least for like every class, but trap, which is another thing that's just kind of strange. But so it goes. And I think that's about it. There was a claw that she was using as well. Yeah, this one. It's a 5 LS claw, but it's like actually really hard to make that work without this and a bunch of other stuff for the IS breakpoints that you use to lay traps. She doesn't use cast speed. And then what else? Druid, my least favorite class in the game, probably, sadly. Just Wind Druid's just too janky and clunky compared to everything else. But as you can see, I basically use them as like a crafting guy. But yeah, Enigma, Istid Shaco, Hodo, Spirit, CTA, and Spirit. And then you put on a Reaper Stole, Treachery, and G-Face. Ideally with a 15 IES, and then you have all the elemental stuff here. This is what I used when I was like absolutely desperate and didn't feel like playing anything. Sadly, of course, the only 220 amulet I made the entire time was a Druid one. But yeah, man, that's basically everything. I'm trying to think of the craziest shit I found. Materials might for sure. Only found one, obviously. Well, not obviously. You could find two before you finish the Grail, but I'm trying to think. I think some of the crazy stuff I found in the last few days, honestly, before Materials might. Mang Song. A bunch of Halberds Reigns all in a row. F Mang Song horked off a champion yesterday. F Death's Web. 2 Eth Shadow Dancers. I found an Eth Shadow Dancers in this past month of grailing as well. Just tons of stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything I never found. I found 2 Nightwing's Veils. Both absolute trash can rolls, sadly. So I can't even really use it for a build. Never found a 2-socket COA with a decent DR roll. Let's see. And yeah, this is everything. So there's, you saw Tyraels. And then here's everything else. Let's see it. Where's Nightwings? 2 of them, man. And I have like 2 more Veils of Steel too, so these are them. Boom and boom. Garbage. But yeah, that's the Grail, man. Done and dusted. Probably found. This is how many Shakos I found. Probably, so 4, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 36, 37. Something like 40 to 50 Shakos over the course of grailing before Tyraels dropped. Before I finished. The meme was these. I found 2 Sacreds that couldn't have rolled Tyraels, unfortunately. There's this one, and I found 1 more on the Necro. Just randomly dropped. So it's, yeah, 5 Templars. And then 5 Templars that could have been Tyraels, and then 2 that could not have been. So I'm actually pretty lucky. I think to get 90% odds, it's 90 or 95% odd probability that you get Tyraels, you have to find 27 unique Sacreds that could roll Tyraels. So eye level 87 or higher. And I got it in 6. So very happy about that rate. It's just the actual rate of finding unique Sacreds was really bad for me. I have 4 Mang Songs, 3 Death's Webs, and like a million other things that are super fucking rare that often people don't get before they even find Tyraels. So kind of is what it is, but that's what you sign up for when you're doing this thing, if you want to do it. I've got, I think, 6 Astrians, F Executioners, F Stormlash, F Flesh Ripper. One of the only items I didn't find, I almost completed a whole another Grail, honestly, before I found Tyraels, just in this last 6 weeks of MFing. And the only item I didn't find was Ghost Flame, the like Legend Spike, and Raven Lore. I'm pretty sure. I think I found like literally everything else. Wind Force, yeah, everything. Trying to see if I can find Ghost Flame. Yeah, I did not find one of these, but that's the only item I think in Raven Lore I didn't find in 6 weeks. Which is pretty crazy if you think about it. So, yeah, man. Playing D2, super fun game. Would not recommend grailing in the end, unfortunately, to anybody. If you find Tyraels and you just want to play the game and keep track of it, it's fun, but I wouldn't go out and seek it out as a quest, personally. it's just a lot of time and a lot of variance. And unless you're doing something else with that time, like you can be entertaining enough to make money streaming or something, rats. But otherwise, I would not recommend the task. Sadly. But otherwise, I think playing solo Selfbound D2 is like what I would end up doing. I think it's the most fun way to play the game. But yeah, that's everything, man. Done and dusted. The only items: Raven lore, only one, and 1 materials, and that's it. But I'm glad I documented the MFing setup. I'm gonna make some sick PVM cares now and call it good. Probably playtime. Like if I just played straight through, how long would Grailing have taken? My Grail have taken probably, so it's like 6 months, 8 months plus, probably like a year, to be honest. It would probably have been like a straight year of me waking up every day and at least doing 150 pit runs. But on average, I probably did way more than that if you count all the time I've played. So kind of rough on the variance for Sacred Armors for me. So it is what it is. But yeah, anyone who's watching this, appreciate your time and attention. And that's the end of the Grail for me. Time to make some BIS PVM characters. I've got some... the only thing that I recently have found that I'm excited about to make some sick PVM stuff is this circlet on the Paladin, which I just gambled. So that's a pretty sick one. The only thing is you have to get like a +5 hammers scepter to go with it if you really want to use it well, but it is what it is. Anyways, appreciate people that care about whether or not Yield of Fear finished his Grail. It did in fact happen eventually. Just took me not streaming and doing it while reading books, basically. All right, guys. Take care.